Picture this. It's October 6, 1993. Michael Jordan has just shocked the world by retiring from basketball at the peak of his powers. 3 championships, 3 finals MVPs, the undisputed king of the world. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if instead of picking up a baseball bat, the most competitive human being who ever lived had walked into the Navy SEAL training facility at Coronado Beach and said 5 words that would change military history forever? I want to be elite. This isn't just a fantasy. This is a deep dive into what would happen if the man who took everything personally decided to take on the most grueling military training on Earth. We're talking about Michael Jordan, the guy who created enemies out of teammates just to stay motivated, facing Hell Week. Navy SEAL success rate? 25% of candidates complete training. Michael Jordan's career? Never quit anything in his life. If you've ever wondered what happens when the ultimate competitor meets the ultimate test, you're about to find out. Because by the end of this story, you'll understand why Jordan might have been the most dangerous Navy SEAL who never existed. But first, you need to understand the phone call that started it all.
Coronado Naval Base, California, October 12, 1993. Commander Jack Razor Mitchell had seen it all in 23 years of naval special warfare. He'd trained senators' sons, Olympic athletes, and guys who could bench press a Volkswagen. But he'd never gotten a call like this. Commander Mitchell, this is Admiral Robert Hayes, Naval Special Warfare Command. I need to see you in my office. Immediately. The Admiral's proposition. 1 hour later, Admiral's office. Jack, what I'm about to tell you doesn't leave this room. We've been approached about a unique training scenario. Someone wants to attempt BUDS. Not to become a SEAL, this is classified as an experimental program to study elite performance under extreme stress. Mitchell leaned forward. Sir, we get elite athletes all the time. What makes this different? The Admiral slid a folder across the desk. Mitchell opened it, and his jaw dropped. The Basketball Legend's Secret. Inside the folder, Michael Jordan's complete psychological and physical profile. Holy shit, sorry sir. Michael Jordan wants to train with Navy SEALs? Not train with them, Commander. He wants to complete the entire BUDS program. Every phase, every evolution. The only difference is he goes back to his life after graduation instead of getting a trident. Mitchell studied the file. Height, 6'6", weight, 218 pounds, body fat, 4%, VO2 max, off the charts. Psychological profile, pathologically competitive. The psychology behind the decision. From Jordan's perspective, October 6, 1993. Jordan sat in his Chicago mansion, retirement press conference still echoing in his mind. The reporters kept asking why he was quitting. How could he explain it? He'd conquered basketball. He'd proven he was the best who ever lived. But that also meant, what was left? People don't understand what drives me. It's not about the money or the fame. It's about being tested. It's about finding out what I'm really made of. And basketball? I already know I can dominate basketball. He'd been reading about Navy SEALs for months, the most elite warriors on the planet. A 75% failure rate? The kind of impossible challenge that most people wouldn't even attempt. What if the greatest basketball player of all time tried to become the greatest warrior of all time? The secret negotiations. Behind the scenes, October 1993. The NBA knew nothing. The media knew nothing. Jordan's agent, David Falk, thought his client had lost his mind. Mike, you're 30 years old. You're worth $200 million. Why would you risk your life crawling through mud with guys who want to kill people for a living? Jordan's response was pure MJ, because nobody thinks I can do it. The conditions were unprecedented. Complete anonymity during training, no media coverage until completion. Jordan pays all costs for specialized program. The Navy gets to study elite performance under stress. If he quits, the story never gets told. If he completes it, he makes history. Commander Mitchell's final thought as he reviewed the file. This is either going to be the most impressive thing I've ever seen or the most expensive way for a celebrity to learn he's not as tough as he thinks he is.
Coronado Beach, November 1st, 1993, 0500 hours. Candidate Johnson, Jordan's cover name, stood in line with 180 other aspiring SEALs. At 6'6", he towered over most of the class. But size meant nothing here. The instructors had one job: break everyone. Senior Chief Petty Officer Martinez walked the line like a predator sizing up prey. He stopped in front of Jordan. Well, well, look what we got here. A basketball player who thinks he's hard. Jordan's internal reaction? Here we go. The first test, PST, the minimum standards. 500-yard swim, 12:30. Push-ups, 50 in 2 minutes. Sit-ups, 50 in 2 minutes. Pull-ups, 10. 1.5-mile run, 10:30. Not bad for a prima donna, Martinez grudgingly admitted. Let's see how you do when shit gets real. Week 1, the breakdown begins. Day 3, ocean conditioning. The Pacific Ocean in November is 62 degrees. Hypothermia sets in after 30 minutes. The class was ordered to link arms and walk into the surf until only their heads were above water. Stay calm, stay warm, stay alive, Jordan told himself, using the same mental techniques that helped him hit game winners under pressure. But this was different. In basketball, pressure lasted seconds. This was hours of constant discomfort with no end in sight. Instructor Rodriguez yelling, "The only easy day was yesterday. If you want to quit, ring that bell 3 times and you can be warm and dry in 5 minutes." Jordan watched 3 guys quit in the first hour. These weren't weak people. They were Marines, Army Rangers, college athletes. But the ocean didn't care about their credentials. The competitive edge emerges. Day 5, log PT. 7-man teams carrying 150-pound telephone poles through obstacle courses. Jordan's team was struggling. They had the tallest guy, but not the strongest team chemistry. This is just like basketball, Jordan realized. Individual talent means nothing if the team doesn't work together. He started doing what he did with the Bulls, taking charge, demanding excellence, pushing teammates past their comfort zone. Listen up, by boat crew, during a rare break. I didn't come here to quit, and neither did you. We're gonna dominate this evolution, and every evolution after it, but we do it together. The first major challenge? Hell Week arrives. Week 4, Sunday night, 2300 hours. Hell Week is 5 days, 4.5 hours of sleep total. Continuous training evolutions designed to break the human spirit. 130 candidates remained from the original 180. Jordan lay on his rack, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow would determine if he was truly elite or just another athlete who looked good on paper. His final thought before Hell Week: I've been preparing for this moment my entire life. Every game winner, every championship, every time someone said I couldn't do something, it all led to this. Time to find out what Michael Jordan is really made of. The bell that haunts everyone. Standing in the courtyard, the brass bell that ends dreams. Ring it once, I want to talk to an instructor. Ring it twice, I'm thinking about quitting. Ring it 3 times, I quit. Get me out of here. Jordan stared at it as he walked past. That bell's gonna ring 100 times this week, but not from me, not ever. Little did he know, Hell Week was about to test every fiber of competitive drive he'd ever possessed.
Crash, crash, crash. Garbage cans thrown into barracks, air horns blaring, instructors screaming. Hell Week had begun. Get on the beach! Move, move, move! Jordan and 129 other candidates sprinted to the beach in boots and uniform. The temperature was 55 degrees with 15-knot winds coming off the Pacific. Evolution 1, surf torture. 0030 hours, Coronado Beach. Link arms, Walk into the surf. Do not break the chain. The candidates walked into 60-degree water until it was chest deep. The instructor's goal? Break their will in the first hour. Jordan's internal monologue. This is mental. The code is temporary. The quit is forever. I've hit shots with 50,000 people screaming at me. I can handle some cold water. But after 45 minutes, Jordan's body was convulsing uncontrollably. Hypothermia was setting in. 3 guys in his line had already quit. Instructor Martinez walked the line. Who wants to quit? The bell is right there. Hot coffee, warm showers, and a phone call home. All you have to do is say the words. Jordan's teeth were chattering so hard he couldn't speak, but he squeezed the arms of the guys next to him tighter. We're in this together. The first major quit. 0130 hours. I can't do it. I can't fucking do it anymore. The guy to Jordan's left broke. A former college football player, 6'4", 250 pounds of muscle. He was done. As he walked toward the bell, Jordan felt something shift inside him. If that guy can't make it, what makes me think I can? No, that's exactly backwards. If he quits, that means there's less competition. That means I'm one step closer to winning this thing. Evolution 2. Log PT in the sand. 0030 hours. Carrying 150-pound logs over their heads while doing squats, lunges, and presses. Jordan's height was actually a disadvantage. Longer lever arms meant more stress on his joints. This is just like weightlifting, he told himself. Mind over matter. Champions are made when nobody's watching. But this wasn't a 2-hour workout. This was hour 3 of a 120-hour evolution. And his teammates were starting to break down. The leadership moment. 0400 hours during log carries. Jordan's boat crew was falling behind. 2 guys were barely contributing, letting the other 5 carry the weight. In basketball, Jordan would have ripped them apart verbally. But this was different. These guys weren't overpaid athletes. They were volunteers who'd already proven themselves just by being here. Listen up, Jordan said during a brief rest. I know you're hurting. We're all hurting, but we're not quitting. Every step we take together makes us stronger. Let's show these instructors what teamwork really looks like. His boat crew found another gear. They finished the evolution in 2nd place. Tuesday, the day of reckoning. 18 hours into Hell Week. 70 candidates had already quit. Jordan was exhausted, hypothermic, and covered in sand that felt like sandpaper against his skin. But he was still there. Evolution 5, the obstacle course. 0800 hours. The infamous Bud's obstacle course, but with Hell Week twist. Full combat gear, soaking wet after 18 hours of no sleep. Jordan attacked it like a championship game. Every obstacle was a defensive player trying to stop him from winning. He finished 3rd overall and 1st in his height category. Instructor Rodriguez, not bad for a basketball player. Let's see how you do when we really turn up the heat. The breaking point, 1400 hours, Tuesday afternoon. 45 hours into Hell Week, Jordan was hallucinating from sleep deprivation. During a rest period, he actually saw his Bulls teammates sitting on the beach cheering him on. Mike, don't quit, man, you got this. Scottie Pippen's voice, clear as day. Stay focused, MJ. Champions never quit. Phil Jackson's calm tone. He blinked, and they were gone. Just sand and exhausted SEAL candidates. I'm losing it, he thought. This is what happens when the human mind reaches its breaking point. The moment that defined him. 2200 hours, Tuesday night, during another surf torture session. The guy next to Jordan started crying. I can't do this anymore, man. I'm done. I'm gonna ring the bell. Jordan looked at this kid, could have been his little brother, and made a decision that would define the rest of Hell Week. No, you're not. You're gonna stay right here next to me. We're gonna get through this together. And when we graduate, you're gonna thank me for not letting you quit on yourself. For the next 30 minutes, Michael Jordan kept that kid motivated through the worst conditions imaginable. The kid didn't quit. Later, the kid would say, "Michael Jordan saved my military career. I owe him everything." But Wednesday was coming, and Wednesday in Hell Week is when they separate the warriors from the wannabes.
Everybody up! Beach! 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 62 candidates remained. Jordan's body was running on pure willpower. His hands were so swollen from rope climbing that he couldn't make a fist. His legs were cramping every time he stood up, but his mind was crystal clear. This is it. This is what I came for. This is where champions are made. Evolution 12, the Around the World Run. 0330 hours. A 4-mile run around the entire base perimeter, in boots, carrying boats over their heads in 7-man teams. Jordan's boat crew was down to 6 men. One guy had quit during the night. "We can do this with 6, Jordan told his team. "That just means we're more elite than the 7-man crews. Let's prove it." The competitive fire ignited. Halfway through the run, Jordan's boat crew was in dead last. His teammates were struggling. The boat was getting heavier every step, and other crews were pulling away. This is exactly like Game 6 against the Jazz. We're behind, everyone's tired, and people are starting to doubt. Time to take over. "Listen up," he called to his crew. "I didn't become the greatest basketball player in the world by accepting second place, and we're not gonna be last place SEALs. Pick up the pace. We're gonna catch every crew in front of us." Something magical happened. His boat crew found energy they didn't know they had. They started passing teams, one by one, until they finished 3rd overall. Instructor Martinez was waiting at the finish line. Well, I'll be damned. The basketball player just carried his whole team to a podium finish. Maybe you do belong here, candidate Johnson. The hallucination intensifies. 1200 hours, Wednesday afternoon. Jordan was now seeing things constantly. During a meal break, the first food in 18 hours, he had a full conversation with his father, James Jordan, who had died just months earlier. "Dad, I don't know if I can finish this." "Son, you've never quit anything in your life. You didn't quit when you got cut from high school varsity. You didn't quit when Detroit beat you up for years. You didn't quit when you had food poisoning in the finals. Why would you quit now?" "Because this is different, Dad. This isn't about winning a game. It's about surviving." "No, Michael. This is about finding out who you really are when everything is stripped away, when there's no crowd cheering, no money, no fame, just you and your will to continue. That's when you discover what you're really made of." Jordan blinked and his father was gone, but the message remained. Evolution 15, the Steel Pier. 1800 hours, Wednesday evening. The most feared evolution in Hell Week. Candidates had to swim under a 300-foot steel pier in 15-foot swells at night with combat gear. "If you panic under there, you die," Instructor Rodriguez explained. "The pier will crush you against the pilings. We've had candidates die during this evolution. Anyone who wants to quit, now's the time." 3 guys rang the bell immediately. Jordan stared at the dark water under the pier. "I've never been more scared in my life," he admitted to himself. "But fear is just another opponent, and I've never met an opponent I couldn't beat." The underwater nightmare. 1845 hours. Swimming under the pier was like swimming through a washing machine filled with concrete. Jordan got slammed against a piling so hard he saw stars. His gear got caught on something underwater and he couldn't surface for 30 seconds. "I'm going to drown. This is how Michael Jordan dies, not on a basketball court, but under a pier in San Diego." But then his competitive instinct kicked in. No, I refuse to die here. I refuse to be the guy who almost made it through Hell Week but drowned in the final evolution. I'm Michael f***ing Jordan, and I'm going to survive this. He ripped his gear free and surfaced just as he was about to pass out. The Wednesday Night Miracle. 2200. Jordan had survived the steel pier. 48 candidates remained. As he lay on his rack, barely conscious, he realized something profound. I thought I knew what competition was. I thought basketball was the ultimate test. But this is what real competition looks like. This is what happens when you compete against your own limitations instead of just another person. I don't need to be the best SEAL who ever lived. I just need to be a SEAL. I need to prove to myself that I can complete the hardest thing I've ever attempted. Thursday approaches. As Wednesday night turned into Thursday morning, Jordan had been awake for 75 hours straight. His body was breaking down, but his spirit was stronger than ever. 2 more days, 48 hours between me and something no athlete has ever accomplished. Time to find out if Michael Jordan is just a basketball player or if he's something more. But Thursday would bring the ultimate test, the evolution that breaks more candidates than any other.
Boom, boom, boom. Simulated explosions woke the 43 remaining candidates. Jordan's body was shutting down. He couldn't feel his feet, his vision was blurry, and he was hallucinating constantly. But his mind was locked in. 24 hours, that's all I need. 24 more hours and I make history. Evolution 18, the Mud Flats. 0400 hours, Tijuana Estuary. The candidates had to low crawl through 200 yards of freezing mud under barbed wire while instructors threw simulated grenades and fired brinks over their heads. Jordan was crawling next to a 19-year-old kid from Alabama who was crying as he moved forward. "I can't do this anymore," the kid whispered. "I'm done." Jordan, covered in mud and barely conscious, grabbed the kid's arm. "You're not done. We're almost finished. Don't quit when we're this close. Your family is counting on you. Your future self is counting on you." "But I can't move anymore." "Then I'll help you move. We finish this evolution together or we don't finish it at all." The brotherhood moment. For the next hour, Jordan basically carried that kid through the mud flats. Every time the kid wanted to stop, Jordan pulled him forward. Every time the kid wanted to quit, Jordan reminded him why he started. They finished the evolution together. The kid would go on to become a Navy SEAL and serve 3 tours in Afghanistan. Years later, he would say, "Michael Jordan didn't just help me through Hell Week. He taught me that true champions create other champions." The Evolution 19, the final test. Friday, 600 hours, 104 hours into Hell Week. The last evolution, a 2-mile ocean swim, followed by a 4-mile beach run, followed by a 1-mile obstacle course. 37 candidates remained. Jordan's body was completely broken, but his mind was clearer than it had ever been. This is it. This is what separates the champions from everyone else. Not talent, not genetics, not luck. The willingness to continue when continuation seems impossible. The swim that changed everything. The Pacific Ocean was rougher than usual. 8-foot swells, 58-degree water, and currents that could pull swimmers out to sea. Jordan had never been a great swimmer. In Hell Week conditions, he was barely staying afloat. Halfway through the swim, he was in serious trouble. "I'm not going to make it. I'm going to drown 50 yards from shore after making it through 102 hours of Hell Week." But then he remembered something his high school basketball coach told him. Champions don't quit when they're losing. They find a way to win when winning seems impossible. Jordan changed his stroke, found a rhythm, and started moving towards shore. Stroke by stroke, breath by breath, he made it to the beach. The final run, 800 hours, 4 miles on soft sand, in boots, soaking wet,
after 104 hours of Hell Week. Jordan was running next to guys half his age who were struggling just as much as he was. This is just like the fourth quarter of Game 6 against Utah. Everyone's tired, everyone's hurting, but somebody has to step up and make the play. Jordan found another gear. At 30 years old, after 104 hours of the most grueling training on earth, he started passing people, one by one, until he was running with the lead group. The finish line, 09:30 hours, Friday morning. Jordan crossed the finish line in 8th place out of 31 finishers. As he collapsed on the beach, Instructor Martinez walked over. "Candidate Johnson, you just completed Navy SEAL Hell Week. How do you feel?" Jordan looked up from the sand, barely able to speak. "I feel like I know who I really am now." The graduation ceremony. 3 weeks later, Bud's graduation. 31 candidates had survived Hell Week and completed the basic underwater demolition course. Jordan stood in formation with his class wearing the coveted Bud's graduation pin. Admiral Hayes stepped forward. "Gentlemen, you have completed the most demanding military training course in the world. You are now qualified to wear the Navy SEAL Trident, with one exception." He walked over to Jordan. "Candidate Johnson, you completed every evolution, passed every test, and earned the respect of every instructor. But you're not here to become a Navy SEAL. You're here because you needed to prove something to yourself. Did you prove it?" Jordan thought for a moment. "Yes, sir. I proved that I'm not just a basketball player. I'm someone who refuses to quit regardless of the circumstances." The real revelation. 1 month later, Jordan's private thoughts. "People think I retired from basketball because I lost my competitive drive. The truth is, I needed to find out what I was competing against. I thought I was competing against other players, but really, I was competing against my own limitations. Hell Week taught me that the only opponent that matters is the voice in your head that says quit. And I finally know with absolute certainty that voice will never beat me." 6 months later, Michael Jordan returned to basketball with a deeper understanding of what it meant to be truly elite. He went on to win 3 more championships. But he never talked about Hell Week. That was between him and the 30 other warriors who knew what it meant to refuse to quit when quitting made perfect sense.
Michael Jordan never actually attended Navy SEAL training, but after analyzing his psychological profile, physical capabilities, and legendarily competitive drive, every military expert we consulted agreed he would have completed it. The man who took everything personally, who created enemies out of teammates just to stay motivated, who played with food poisoning in the NBA Finals, that man would have found a way to survive Hell Week. Because true champions aren't defined by their sport. They're defined by their refusal to accept anything less than their absolute best. So what do you think? Could the most competitive human being who ever lived have conquered the most demanding military training on Earth? Let me know in the comments, and tell me what other legendary athlete you'd like to see tested against elite military standards. If you want more deep dives into the psychology of elite performance, hit that subscribe button. Next week, if Kobe Bryant had been a fighter pilot, the Mamba mentality meets Top Gun. Remember, champions aren't born. They're forged in the moments when quitting makes perfect sense, but they choose to continue anyway.